Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is very cold outside. I don't know where you guys are, but man, is it cold here. I had a little bit of free time today, so I wanted to talk about growth and how to break bad habits, especially if you're a former addict, whether that's a food addiction or a drug addiction. A little bit about myself. If you haven't watched the channel before, I'm a former addict. I was probably over 100 pounds overweight at one point. I was addicted to multiple drugs. I was a criminal, didn't work most of my life. Probably about 15 years ago, I decided to change my life, and it's been a journey. It's been an adjustment. So, habits are extremely hard to break. That's what I want to start with, especially if you are with or around people that are enabling you. If everybody in your house is eating junk food, it's going to make it really hard for you to not eat junk food. If everybody in your circle is using drugs, everybody that you're around is committing crimes, it's going to be very hard for you to not do that same stuff. So that's the first thing that I had to learn, is to kind of stop hanging out with certain people. I had to stop and break certain habits that were destroying my life. And then you have to build new habits, which is extremely hard, especially when you're older. I didn't change until I was in my early 30s. So I think I was 32 when I decided to get off of a methadone program that I had been on for 8 years. And before that, I was addicted to Oxycontin, heroin, cocaine, you name it. But, the main ones: cocaine, heroin, Oxycontin. And then it went to the methadone, and methadone was harder to get off than all of them. So I remember on my birthday, 32 years old, I decided to walk out of the methadone clinic and try to get sober, which was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I decided to go back to college, and my work history was kind of spotted. Like, I had owned a business before, I had worked here and there, but most of the time what I did was commit crimes. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's something that I want to share, because if you're a younger person, I'm going to tell you right now that crime doesn't pay. Yeah, you might make some money, but it's going to ruin your life eventually. You're going to get caught. You're going to get addicted to drugs. You're going to form habits that just are going to ruin your life. So I started dating my wife about a year after I had gotten sober. And I started drinking. And then that was another thing that happens a lot with addiction. Like, you replace one habit with another. So I drank for about 2 years. And then when she was pregnant with our first son, I decided, after our wedding, actually, I decided I wasn't going to drink anymore. I haven't drank since. But I still had other bad habits because, like I said, I was a criminal most of my life. So I was used to, if I got frustrated with something, I would go back and fall on old habits, and I would just start committing crimes. Like, my thing mostly was selling drugs. I would go back to selling drugs because it was the easiest and I was comfortable. I know it's crazy to say that I was more comfortable being a criminal. Unless you've been in that lifestyle, you probably wouldn't understand, but that was my comfort zone. I wasn't used to going to a job and listening to people and having a boss, or I didn't even really know how to use a computer. I'd always get like other people to help me. Most of the time I would have like a girl or a woman in my class or in my life that would do all the work for me, and they would enable me. So when I met my wife, like, she pushed me to actually get a career. She was pregnant. I was scared. Like, I didn't know what I was going to do for a living. I was trying all kinds of jobs. It was hard for me to get hired. I had a lot of stuff on my record. So my mother-in-law pushed me to get my record expunged. But sometimes you need that push. You know what I mean? Like, somebody has to be in your corner. And it gave me the confidence to go out there. And then I got they wouldn't take one thing off my record, but most of the stuff is off my record because it was so long ago. And my wife is a hairstylist, and she got me an interview at a bank. And I was like, I'm never going to get this job. So I go in for the interview, and there's a lot of people working there. It was a mortgage office. So a lot of people working there there was they weren't going to hire me to be like a banker or a loan officer right off the bat. I had to be a telemarketer, which was embarrassing, but I had to start somewhere. There's a lot of people from recovery that were in halfway houses and out of prison, out of jail, and they were, you know, like me. So I kind of fit in, and they put me on the phone, and it was embarrassing as shit. I turned red, I remember, and they put me on the phone with strangers. I had to call people and see if they wanted to refinance their house. I knew nothing about mortgages. I knew nothing about I kind of did. I had a real estate license that I had gotten earlier in my life, but I never used it. And when I got it, I was like so I was high. Didn't remember half of the shit. Like, it's embarrassing. All these stories are kind of embarrassing, but the reason I felt like I should make these videos is to give people hope that, like, I turned my whole life around. So in 11 months, I went from a telemarketer to being a mortgage broker. I made more money legally than I'd ever made in my life. The following years, we got a house. I have 3 kids now, and I lost 100 pounds during all of this. I changed my whole life, got back into fitness, nutrition. It's possible, but I had to change the habits. So now, like, if I get frustrated or if I get stressed out, there's tools that I kind of, I went to meetings and met with drug counselors, and they give you some coping mechanisms and stuff, but I kind of use fitness and nutrition and my family as my motivation and to break those bad habits. Some people might not have that, but you're going to have something. I think fitness is a huge component of getting out of those bad habits. That it kind of gets that discipline instilled into you. Like, if you make yourself work out every day, right in the beginning of the day, like, I know it's hard for most people, get up a little earlier if you have to. If you can't do it, then do it in the evening, but I prefer working out, get that over with. It makes you feel better throughout the day, and it builds that habit of getting something done. Like, you have to get this done, then make your bed, then make sure you eat healthy, at least the first meal of the day. And then eventually you can get stricter on your diet and your nutrition. You just feel better. And then you build that habit. And then as far as working, since working out and eating healthy is kind of hard to stick with in the beginning, you build the discipline to stick with a job that you don't like, to do things that you don't want to do. Now, I'm not going to say that I haven't had my struggles, that I haven't had a relapse here and there. I still don't like being disrespected. That's very hard for me, coming from the criminal world, especially. Like, I don't know, or maybe just as a man, I don't like when people talk down to me or tell me what to do. Like, if you ask me nicely, I'm the nicest guy in the world if you ask anybody that knows me. But if you try to disrespect me or talk to me a certain way, like, I still have a hard time dealing with that. And that's been something, like, controlling my temper. I've gotten so much better because kids have taught me, self-control more than anything. Like, you can't yell at your kids or beat your kids up. So you got to figure out a way to talk things out, talk to them kind of not as equals, but like explain things thoroughly, explain why I'm feeling the way I am, why I reacted the way I am. Like, you don't just blow up on people. And I think that has helped me a lot. Being a dad really changed me, along with everything else, but being a dad and being a husband has helped me. Not everybody has that though. So you got to find your thing. But I'm here to help. That's why I like doing these fitness videos, because I know how hard it is to break the habits. I like to hear other people's thoughts though, and see other people that have gone through similar situations. I have lots of stories. Some of them I'm embarrassed to tell, a lot of them though, but maybe sometimes, when I feel like I need to share, I'll start sharing some of these. Let me know what your thoughts are. I'll see you guys on the next one.